Welcome to the Core Women Podcast, the place for women entrepreneurs, authors, and self-starters looking to build community and gain valuable insights through expert interviews with women at the top of their game. Join your host, podcaster, producer, expert coach, entrepreneur, and author, Dr. Summer Watson, as she aims to inspire and empower you through these candid conversations. Lean in and embrace the journey. It's time to start the show. Here's your host, Dr. Summer Watson.
Today on the show, I'd like to welcome Catherine Hatfield, who grew up in a small mining town in Australia. She is an adventurer, a phenomenal photographer, a cyclist, a mom, and a partner with a man she has loved deeply for over 20 years. We have so much to talk about today, so let's jump right into this and welcome Catherine.
Thank you so much. Lovely to be here.
Well, it's lovely to be here with you as well. So before we start exploring your professional journey, let me ask you a question. Can you describe, maybe in one word, to this point, what your journeys look like thus far?
My journey this far, it would definitely be centered around where's the party at? Where's the fun? Who's doing something? Let's go.
I love that. And I love that about your character, your personality. Right now, you can't see Catherine, but she's got this great big smile. So tell us more about where's the party at theme here for you. Where did this begin? And I think this is going to evolve into where we are now. But tell us this whole mindset about where's the party at.
I think it started as I was growing up. I grew up in a pretty small town. So it would have been, while growing up, about 10,000 of the population, and it would come down to about 4,000 depending on the cycle of the mines. So there was something bigger and better out there, so I couldn't wait to get out. I was like, okay, what's my escape plan?
Right.
So as I got older and started traveling all up and down Queensland, trying to find my spot where I could settle down and like this was where I wanted to be, my desire to go see things, go check things out just grew bigger and bigger. So I made a plan to go see the world. And Australians have and I believe the same as New Zealand, the Western worlds, we did back then, we had an agreement with the UK. We could work and play for 2 years. And in Canada, we had 1 year, and New Zealand, we pretty much go back and forth as we wish, from what I understand. I did go to New Zealand first, and I was there for 2 weeks, and I can see myself ending up here. Absolutely love South Island, New Zealand. My grandfather was buried in Christchurch, so I definitely have had a connection there. So I set when I was 22 and journeyed on, and I come to America to visit, and I met my husband after 4 days being here. We really liked each other, and we stayed pen pals. I lived in Scotland for a few months.
Wow. What part of Scotland?
Glasgow. The Glaswegian smile.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, that's a wild place for sure. It really is. I've been there.
Had a great time. I was about to move to Edinburgh, and then it just got too cold for me. And then Nate was going to come visit me, and he said, so where do I get my ticket? Come see you, UK, because I had been talking about wanting to go home to defrost. And as I get that ticket to Australia, it's time for me to go home. I'll come back in the summer. And so he met me in Australia, and 6 weeks later, he proposed to me. And then 6 weeks later, we got married, and then he took me back to the cold in Washington State.
Oh, wow. Now, I do have to tell the listeners that Catherine and I met in Okinawa, Japan, because both of our husbands served in the Marine Corps for an entire career, each of them. Was he stationed in Washington at the time?
No, I met him in California. He was stationed in San Diego, but he had got out. He did his enlistment tour, and he got out to go to college. So after we got married, he went to college, I worked, and then he got stop-loss after 9/11, got called back. So to stay in college, he was doing an accounting degree at the time. He put in an officer package because we weren't sure what was going to happen at that time. And yeah, off we went, and we just were like, we'll see what this is about. Everything happens for a reason, and we didn't have kids at the time. We saw Okinawa was like, that would be an adventure. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it was.
it sure was. So we stayed 6 years.
Talk about a party.
Oh, yeah. Fortunately for me, I got to spend a lot of that time on the island, and Nate, we
Yeah,
definitely both loved everything about it.
absolutely. There were some parties, there were some sad times, there were a lot of separation at that time because our spouses were in different parts of the world while we stayed in Okinawa. So, yeah, it was a mixed ball of emotions for sure for many of us military spouses as we saw our loved one go somewhere else. And yet we were stationed as a family in Okinawa, but then they would be sent off somewhere else. So much adventure here. You've been through so much from moving from Australia and then moving and finding your way around the world in different parts of the world, then to Okinawa and then to the US. You've had so much adventure in your life. And another part of that adventure is your business,
Mhm.
Asilomar Photography. Let's talk about that business. But before we do, one of the pictures on your website is of you wearing this fantastic hat. And I just, for me, when I look at it, I'm like, it just kind of represents who you are. It's got that Aussie flair to it, it's your personality. Tell us more about that hat. What kind of hat? Whose hat it was? Tell us more. Tell us the story behind the hat.
It's an Akubra. So if you go to Australia, you'll see many folk wearing it. They come in all different sizes and they're amazing. So very comfortable, keep your head warm. Definitely needed that in Scotland. Didn't have it at the time. The hat that I'm wearing is belonged to my father, and he would always wear one as he would travel, come and visit us. I have 4 kids with my husband, and so for us to get back to Australia, it's extremely expensive. And as you're growing, and so fortunately, when my parents retired, they would come to see us. So he would always show up in this hat, and so that's what my kids know him wearing. And he passed in end of 2020, and I asked him before he passed if I could take his hat, and he was like, "Why do you want this thing?" I was like, I just would like to have this. And he said, "Absolutely, take it. That is yours."
So your dad is with you all the time in memory, but also as you wear that hat, he is joining you on your new adventure in your business, Asilomar Photography. So let's talk about that business. Let's talk about how you started your business and the vision for your business.
How I started was like every mother that has children and wants to photograph their kids. So that was exciting to me. I grew up with my father loved taking videos. So he always would video us as we were kids, and he bought my mother a camera. So she would always take photos of us. So photography, videography, that medium was always present in my life. And I knew that that was just, it just felt natural to me to do that with my kids. So in 2007, I decided that, okay, I wanted to make this more than just a hobby, even though I was still learning. And then I didn't want to start taking on clients, even though they're like, offer it. I was like, I don't feel comfortable until I know that, okay, I know what I'm doing and I'm not going to waste your time, basically. So in 2012, we moved to Monterey the first time. And that was when I started my business. And it was under my name at that time. And then after that, we moved to Georgia, and then we moved to San Diego. So having to start and restart all the time was rough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to interject here for a moment
Mhm.
because I think that's something that people don't know is that as military spouses, we made the decision to marry somebody that we love. And then they joined the military and we bounced from place to place to place to place with them, supporting them, loving them, and this being part of our adventure as well. But what's important is we also have a vision, goals for our personal life for ourselves. And a lot of times that can be really difficult and challenging as even as a professional myself, jumping from place to place. So in beginning again, whereas our spouses, they go to a job. They already
Yeah.
have somewhere to go. They already have, an office to be at, people they know. But for the spouses, it's beginning again every time we move. So how did you do that? What gave you the energy to start again, start again, start again?
It was networking and finding these amazing like-minded individuals that would either welcome me or just be in the same position or had been in the same position. And that would be the growth there, finding people, networking.
Yeah. And you did it, and that inspired you to continue. This business has evolved. You've done some exciting things in this business. So tell us about some of the exciting things you've done in the last couple of years with your business.
Yes, I absolutely love doing events, galas, because of there's a party there somewhere.
There-
And you just invited me.
and I love that. And you just invited me to your party. So what kind of parties have you done? Who have you featured in your photographs?
Oh, you? That was fun, super fun.
That's
Bound, I absolutely love working with them and everything that they're doing for cancer research. So with them, I have had the honor to photograph Padre Petal of the Cause, well, lots of cyclists, cancer survivors, and then with that, their concert for cures. And that would be Alicia Keys previous year, Ed Sheeran this past year, and not sure yet who they're going to book this year, but it's always exciting and it's just a wonderful organization.
that is terrific. It's a party with a cause.
Oh, yes.
And it's amazing how they're helping and supporting others. As you go into the new year and you're looking at your journey, what's a goal that you really want to attain in this coming year?
Well, so I moved back to Monterey.
Mhm.
Nate retired, so we moved back and we absolutely love it. And it's wonderful to be here again. And I continue to return to San Diego to serve my client base there every 6 to 8 weeks. So that's a blessing that I'm able to do that. The kids are a lot older now, so yay.
Yeah, that's a lot of travel. So you go from coast to coast, central Northern California to Southern California to meet up with your clients and support them through their events. So
Mm-hmm.
you do that. And now you're also based in Monterey. Tell us more about the name, Asilomar. Why Asilomar? What does that mean?
Asilomar stands for Refuge of the Sea. So it's for me, it's very spiritual based because every time I go to Asilomar Beach, it just feels like something more. It's absolutely stunning, and it's Pacific Ocean, so I feel it's not too far from home, but it is. It really is.
Yeah. But there's somewhat of a connection there.
Very much so. And just the cypress trees of Monterey,
Yeah.
I think of Avatar every time I'm like riding through the forest and along the coast. It's so beautiful here.
Yeah.
And I thank my lucky stars every day how we were able to come back here. So thank you, Nate.
It is a gorgeous area. I lived and grew up
Mhm.
just up the road, so very familiar. I think
Agreed.
it's what, 35,
Beautiful
40
too.
minutes
Love
away.
it. Redwoods.
Yeah. I mean, very fortunate. Beach life, redwoods. So you're a cyclist. You do so much. You've got this great business. It's flourishing. Your focus, I think, is what? Events, galas, weddings.
Hmm. Yes, headshots and seniors because it's all seasonal.
Yeah. And so you do service people who are all through California or predominantly in San Diego and Monterey?
Through California, I love to travel. Absolutely love to travel because it's somewhere new. You get to check it out and meet people all the time. That's what drives me, is personalities and getting to know people.
Fantastic. I know that you were out here last year. I believe it was last year doing a wedding. Is that correct?
Yes,
In out near the DC area. So you do travel.
I do.
You do like adventure, and you do
It
go
was
to the
awesome.
party.
I definitely do. Yes. What's that song? Doesn't start till I walk in.
I don't know, but that's true. My
It's not
goodness.
true.
And then all of a sudden
I'm
it's
just the
click, click,
photographer.
click.
It's not about me.
You're like, I'm here, everyone. I know it's not about me, but I'm here at the party. So, oh my goodness. Catherine, you and I met at a party and we had so much fun. I think was it New Year's? I think it was a New Year's party
I
in
think so.
Okinawa. So I think Catherine's absolutely right. She is where the party's at. So, with that said, we have covered so much ground here. If you were to leave the listeners with one tip about how to prepare for a fantastic photo shoot or event, what would it be?
Get your clothing right. Lay it out on the bed, take a step back, whatever photo shoot it is, put your outfits on the bed and see what that looks like. And think about the background. So if it's at the beach, you might want to tone it down, more earthy tones or pastel, depending on what you're going for. If you're making wall prints, where are you going to hang it? What room? So if it's forest background, very dark, like jewel tones would be absolutely amazing. But if you've got a beach cottage, white walls, and you want a black frame, is that going to look great on your wall? So just take into consideration when you do a photo shoot and you're putting money towards it, you really want to get it right from the bottom up, and including shoes.
Oh, good tips. I've had the honor to work with you, Catherine, and our last photo shoot together, we did a lot of prep, but it was because you really helped us. And you also were so easy and gracious to work with. You were able to pose us. You were able to really put us in these positions where when we looked at the pictures afterwards, we're like, wow, okay, that looked really good. That works. So thank you so much for your tip. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It has been an honor. I love what you're doing and how your business is evolving, how you have your goals for the coming year. And I just wish you all the luck. So thank you again, Catherine, for joining me on the Core Women podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You can follow Catherine on Instagram at Asilomar Photo, on Facebook, on Instagram, at LinkedIn, at Catherine Hatfield, and at asilomarphotography.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Core Women podcast with Dr. Summer Watson. We're so glad you're here and would love to connect more with you. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Core Women, and on Twitter at Core Women 1. For more about Core Women and Dr. Watson, visit corewomen.com. Want more support and resources for amazing women like you? Great! Join Dr. Watson and Jen Fontanilla at the Life, Love, and Money Collective, a Core Women production that aids in understanding the key traits that might be getting in the way of living a life that you are absolutely passionate about. Connect with Summer and Jen and find out more at thelifeloveandmoney.com.